God, you are four of the ugliest fucking kids I've ever had the misfortune of laying my eyes on. I can't wait for this bitch to kill you.
Welcome back, everybody. My name's Grace or Gibby, and we gotta get right into it, man. I woke up, checked Discord, saw the armor came out. It wasn't released at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Kinda hard to prepare for, but hey, no big deal. Mermazon champion just dropped. Shout out to Gwen, who dropped the last tokens. It's a 121 mil armor. I actually just bought it out of excitement before I started recording, but I haven't looked at any information. Take on the form of the Mermazon champion. Its defensive armor comes with a skill to leave your foe drowning, as well as abilities to let you use your regeneration to cleanse statuses and your foe's poison to drown them. Okay. That was my idea. Don't fact check that. This is all my idea. They took my suggestion. Great work. I'll show you my inventory. I've got the full set, and I've got some healing options to see what happens. And I gotta get some poison options. Let me think of a good way to poison. Are there any poison spells? Snake Master Strike does poison. We'll use that for now. Not a big deal. We'll figure something out. It's not all that. Okay, straight into combat practice trainer. Let's see how this baby looks. I know the looks aren't a surprise. Carrot Lance, what a great weapon. Let's use Seashell Shredder. Why not? And let's hide the pet for now so we don't accidentally get the full set bonus, because I don't know what it does. No shield either. Okay. Alright, now you can see the armor pretty well. Armor looks good. I'm gonna say it. Armor looks good. Haters will say it looks like a lobster with 6 legs. Don't forget to drink water. Haters will say it looks like an ugly lobster. I think she's beautiful. Okay. F dealing. Let's check out the EleComp. 39 to water. 59 to ice, 59 to dark. Oh my god, did they finally follow the elemental wheel for this? I think they did. Wind and earth are neutral. Yep, they did. It's beautiful. Okay, so the EleComp is going to be pretty heat. The MRM's a little high and it's FD, but it should be like at least 1.6. Should be. Yeah, so pretty good EleComp for an FD armor. Very happy about that. Let's look at the skills. Also, if you're watching this, I'm going to be getting information on the skills and whatnot from the info subs as soon as possible. So this is just my live reaction because I thought it would be fun. Okay. Deadly Catch. Drag your foe down at the depths, leaving them drowning. Deep Healing. Click to absorb active regeneration on you to clear a hostile status. Only usable once per turn and prevents you from changing armors this turn. Okay. It's a little unfortunate, prevents you from changing armors. Otherwise, it would do really OP. With Celerity, I wonder if it works with Celerity. We'll have to try. What do we have to try to do that? We'll have to fight something that gives you a status every turn with Celerity. I'll figure that out later. Don't worry about it. Really good defensive status cleansing spell, though. I can see it being used everywhere there's a water status. Don't know how well this will be applied, but it depends on if it works well with Celerity or not. So if you get Celerity, you can cleanse it and then switch to another armor, or not. We'll see. Ocean's Curse. Click to control the poison in your foe's system, leaving them drowning. Usable once per turn. Successful use prevents your changing armors this turn. Okay. My guess is that this takes whatever amount of poison you have inflicted, or X amount of poison, and switches it to drowning at a 50% save or at some save, and then that multiplies the power of the poison. I don't even know what drowning does, though. Okay, well, the skill follows weapon type, so that's heat, because I'm using a ranged weapon because I wasn't really thinking about it. Seashell Shredder, baby. I wonder if this is still bugged. No, it's not. Thank God. Oh, that animation. Okay, so the animation's cool. They fixed the Seashell Striker, finally. It was bugged for days. Drag your foe into the water, leaving them drowning. Oh! It's a stun. For some reason I thought drowning was a different status, a new status. Okay, interesting. Interesting. This should be nice because it should be a guaranteed stun if you have the infliction roll on a free-to-play permanently accessible item that's not seasonal. So this is great. It shouldn't be based off resistances because it's a freeze type effect. I could be wrong. We'll see in the info subs. On my first look, this is great. Deep healing. You don't have enough regeneration on you to use this skill. Oh, it has to be the regeneration status. It can't be siphon poison. Actually, can it be siphon poison? Let's try. Okay, so it has to be the regeneration status itself. Luckily, I planned for this and brought catnip senses. You don't have enough regeneration on you to use this skill. Okay, so regeneration is not powerful enough. Let's cast it again and see. It's like 40% melee because it's 0.2 power, 2 turns. I don't know why a conditional status cleanse would be more than 12.5% melee, but let's just use the shield instead, because surely they planned ahead for this. So power 1.2, 2 turns. Oh, I don't have any hostile statuses that can be cleansed. Okay, so more than 60% melee for the status cleanse, which is a little odd. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'll check the numbers after. Alright, and Ocean's Curse. So I've got Celerity right now. Let's use Snake Master Strike. That should give him a fat dark poison. Yeah, so let's use Ocean's Curse now. So we've got 5.5 duration 4, so that's 20% melee, or 200% melee, which is about right. 220% melee, no big deal. In poison, let's use Ocean's Curses. It used almost exactly half, so 110% melee to freeze. Okay. A lot of people don't like stuns. I like stuns, especially free-to-play accessible stuns. We've got a offensive status conversion, which is really OP. Basically, you inflict a status, you use an offensive status conversion, and you get a multiplier on that status. And because it's quick cast, we have so much omnipotency available. This is going to be really good. We also have freeze potency available, free to play from the the ice set, the Frostbreaker or whatever. That pet gives you freeze potency. We just got an omnipotency shield. We have a Spotter Drake and Pride Lord if you have those. It's not an ice freeze, so you can't use the Frostgale's Remorse Misk. But there's lots of options, is what I'm saying. That's sick. That's sick. Okay. Sick armor. Let's go look at the numbers and get some more accurate information. You're 9 minutes in. I'm going to get some real information and tell you about the armor. Okay. So it's been about an hour. And what I'm going to do right now is... Okay, I'm going to show you how these status cleanse work. And I was actually wrong about catnip senses not being strong enough to cleanse the status. So I have defense loss right now. I don't know if that's a status it cleanses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just attack one more time. So I have a harm burn, which is a status it cleanses. Now what I'm doing is going to cast catnip senses once. Now I can't remember exactly, but I think regen is power 0.1 for 10% melee. So this is 20% melee of regen. And if I try to use deep healing, you don't have enough regeneration on you. Now I've got power 0.2 for 2 turns, so that's overall 40% melee. I use deep healing. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's use catnip senses one more time. Power 0.3 for 2 turns, that's 60% melee. And now it goes down to power 0.05 for 2 turns, which is 10% melee, which means the status cleanse costs 50% melee of regen. I don't think that's quite right, because status cleanse is not supposed to be worth that much, but maybe because it's quick cast or whatever. It costs extra, can't be quite sure. But either way, so catnip senses is a pretty reasonable way to get the regen. You can also use healing branch. I don't have it on me right now, but I think healing branch actually would get you all the way to be able to use the skill, or maybe you'd have to use it. Let's see. Yeah, it would get you all the way. I'm almost positive, because I think it's like 70% melee. It's like 7 turns, 0.1 duration, 0.1 power. Regardless, I do like the status cleanse. I think it's cool. Also, you'll note it actually did cleanse the death loss and not the burn, so good to know that death loss is cleansable status. Everything else, though, I'm questionable how I feel about it, because it's an FD armor, so that's cool. It has no way to inflict the poison. When you do inflict the poison to freeze is a really favorable ratio, because you're able to, 1, if you pay 100% melee for a poison, it's worth 200% melee if it inflicts. So if you use status potency while inflicting the poison, you get a really high benefit to power. Then you use Ocean's Curse. I think it's at a -20 save, don't quote me on that, but I ran some numbers, it makes sense in my head. So you get a 70-30 relationship on the output, instead of a 50-50, which means you get a cheaper freeze than normal for the price of consuming poison, and we have so much freeze potence, and it's quick cast, so you'll never miss this infliction if you're playing optimized. So you get a really cheap freeze, and these skills both cost 0 SP. So the only SP you're funneling into them is the SP you'll be using to inflict those statuses and regen in the first place. I think that realistically, mages are going to get great use out of this, because 1, it's an FD armor, which is technically optimal for mages compared to spellcaster. Even though spellcaster is a lot more fun, I admit. But this is like slow and steady wins the race kind of deal. And 2, you can inflict your poison and your regen with mana, so that you have more SP to use the freezing skill or energy nukes or whatever. Which is sweet. I think that's sweet. But that being said, the fact that it locks you to the armor, and let's see if you can leave it with celerity. Let's see if you can leave it with celerity after being locked to the armor, because I don't think you'll be able to. Oh no, you can. Okay, so that's one option. Using celerity to leave the armor, but the fact that it locks you to the armor means that you need another way to deal energy damage, or to not cleanse a status and tank damage in the wrong resistance, which does make it weaker. That does make it weaker, locking it to the armor. We don't have official info subs yet, so I'd be really curious to see if locking it to the armor maybe gives it a cost reduction, maybe gives it a power boost of some kind. I don't think it does. I think they just locked it to the armor so that it can't be abused as like a utility armor. Is it a problem that it could be abused as a utility armor? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much. The freeze skill, I think it's fine on its own, because we have so few reliable stuns, and I don't think it's based off of monster resistance, but let's go test that out. What I'm going to do is grab my status potency and be right back. Okay, here we go. Crystal Reef should be all set. Yeah, Mermazon Champion. Let's use Starfish Stalwart, because why not? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if the freeze is based off monster resistance. Because if it's not based off monster resistance, then it's a really good free-to-play, reliable stun option. And again, I've already mentioned, but we have so much potence. Add the Frostworm shield on that, and you're basically 100% infliction if it's at a -20 save, which I assume it is because the staff seems to love their MC to -20 save effects. But I'm going to use some pay-to-play potence because I'm testing for a video. There we go, should be all set. So this thing has 70% water resistance. So I'm going to just do it a couple times, and if it never fails, I'll assume that means drag your foe and leave them drowning. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to War-Torn Dragon because that will be a good way to test because it's really low water resistance. Choice to fall. Skip to the fight with War-Torn Dragon. I hope I don't get one banged. I shouldn't, judging from my nightmare testing the other day. But regardless, they endure it with the help of Chumbawamba. Okay. So 10% water resistance. He has plus 20 boss boost, which isn't that high. Do I have a... No, I don't. It's probably versus endurance though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a magic weapon. And Celtic Wheel. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that'll make my infliction a little bit better, probably. Okay, so I mean that's not scientific testing, but I'm pretty sure the drowning is not based off water resistance. Let's do it again just to be sure, because 2 out of 3 on a 10% chance would be like really crazy luck. Yeah, okay, so it's not based off water resistance, which means this is a free-to-play accessible 100% stun if you have the potency, which is crazy good for the player base. It's not it's not like build reliant because the skill follows weapon type. So that is huge just to have on a free-to-play accessible armor, because again, there's so many bad sources of it currently. I'm not going to go through a list because it would take me a while, but yeah, so that's a great part of the armor, just for like gap coverage and whatnot. The status cleansing, it being locking you to the armor makes it a lot weaker. Makes it a lot more balanced, but it makes it a lot weaker. Same with the freeze, the poisoned freeze makes it a lot weaker because it locks you to the armor, and the armor doesn't have a way to deal energy damage. So the armor doesn't have a way to deal energy damage. I think this problem can be solved. You'll notice the Seashell Shredder weapons, their Elevone, or these weapons for the set, are water Elevone. So my first part of the suggestion is changing the Elevone to both water and energy. Where Pyrobats have 2 Elevones for the same price, it shouldn't really be a problem because they're opposite element. Sort of like how Shadowstalker Mist is only 1 element of upkeep because it's light and dark. Anyways, change it to water and energy Elevone. The reason you're going to change it to water and energy Elevone is because if you have the full set bonus, weapon, armor, and shield, maybe Misk too, who cares, the Deadly Catch skill not only does a water freeze, but also element seeks on trigger if you're in the full set and if the foe is drowned. So by paying for the full set bonus and a rare trigger, a drowning trigger, you can element seek and still get the EleComp to damage. This would make it a skill with 1.55 EleComp, dealing energy damage to a drowned foe. So it could be it could hit great numbers. And I think that FSB plus drowned trigger is enough to pay for EleSeek. Let me get some EleSeek items out real quick and I'll tell you how much they pay. Okay, so I pulled up some examples on the forums. I'm going to just read them out. Tarnished Caliburn. It's a temp weapon, but whatever. It pays 5% melee base and the trigger against a bunch of monsters like Undead and Darkovia. and Necromancer and whatnot, is it's worth 20% damage and basically limit seeking through doing fake void damage. So that's nuts. The Fighting Shillelagh seeks against Leprechauns. It pays 2.5% damage to gain 10% damage and Seek against Leprechauns. So that's a tiny cost for a massive output. Darkseeker's Sidekick pays 5% damage to get 20 status resistance, which I think is 10% melee. I can't remember. And Element Seek against Vamps and Wares, so a rare category-ish. 5% melee for that, not even counting the status resistance. And Rust Reaver against Armored, it trades 5% damage and gets 10% damage back and Seeking for 5% melee. So the precedent for a low melee cost and Seeking is definitely there. Is it OP to have a water armor with situational EleComp to an energy skill? Honestly, I don't think so, because you need it to be drowning anyways. So like you're just using the armor as it could have been. Because otherwise you'd have to be stuck with using like an energy spell or an energy weapon bow skill instead. Like a bow click skill. Like do we have any energy weapons of those? I don't know. But like there's not much you can do without a skill built into the armor that can do energy damage. So that's why I really think it should get the Seeking treatment. For maybe FSB, Drown Trigger, maybe it pays an HP cost. I don't know, but something to give it an energy damage source. Aside from that, I think the staff should reevaluate the armor lockouts and consider whether those are what they want to do. If they don't want quick cast skills, they could potentially one, make them not quick cast and cost more. I think the freeze should stay quick cast so you can capitalize off it with an energy attack. But I think that the status cleanse, you could 100% make that a status cleanse plus heal by adding your turn value to it. You could even give it an EleComp teal, make it based off enemy water resistance, so it could heal you more with the 1.55 EleComp. Maybe that's too soon for that type of effect, but hey, it's an option. I think the armor as it is right now, difficult to get good use out of. I think with some minor adjustments, making the first skill Element Seek, making the resistance skill or the cleanse skill not lock out, and making the weapons give energy Elevon, I think it could be great. But at the moment, a bit of a poor performance from the armor. We'll have to wait and see about the info subs. Definitely check the description, because there could be things I missed in the info subs. But that's my current thoughts. Thank you guys for listening to this ramble. 2 rambles in 2 days, kind of crazy. Maybe a new record, depending on what happens tomorrow. No, I'm playing. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Spread some peace and love. Don't hate on the staff. Be constructive and polite in your criticism, as I intend to be myself. And have a great day. Bye-bye.